Welcome to NetElixir University's newest webinar, Amazon for SMBs, Friend or Foe. Thank you for joining. We're excited to have you all here with us this afternoon, and happy to have a NetElixir search expert joining us today as well to share with you all insights around one of the more polarizing topics in e-commerce today, Amazon. Is it right for your business? My name is Alyssa Zaremba. I'm a marketing manager here at NetElixir, and I will be the host of today's 30-minute session. Before we get into the presentation, I do have some housekeeping guidelines. All attendees right now are on mute, so if you're experiencing any technical difficulties during the webinar, please type it into the question bar at the bottom of your GoToWebinar panel. We will try to address them as soon as possible. At the end of the webinar, we will be taking questions from the audience. So if you think of any during the webinar, be sure to type them into the question panel, and we'll do our best to answer them, as many as we can at least, at the end. Lastly, this webinar recording and PowerPoint will be available to all attendees and up on our website as well. For those of you who have not yet heard of or worked with NetElixir yet, here's a little bit about us. NetElixir is a team of over 100 fanatically analytical search marketers. We're a premier search marketing agency. We're actually just one of 5 agencies in North America recently shortlisted by Google for their prestigious Search Innovation Award. Aside from being a premier Google partner, we are a partner of Bing as well, and the preferred search marketing partner of UPS. To the right, you can see just a few of our clients. We do combine our technology and our retail expertise to help businesses get found, convert customers, and learn groundbreaking consumer insights from their online business. We also started NetElixir University to share all of our knowledge in the industry through our research and webinars like this one that we're holding today, our white papers, blogs, and events as well. The point is to democratize digital marketing and help businesses of any size succeed online. Here is what NetElixir can do for you. In the first column are just some of our services. We specialize in paid search management, SEO, and paid social, as well as marketplace ad management. We have our own proprietary bid optimization algorithms and sophisticated paid search management tools as well. Our whole team of experts are Google certified, and they provide e-commerce strategy consulting and technical support. Joining me today will be one of NetElixir's strategic account managers, Anthony Turco. Anthony has a background in finance and over 7 years of experience in the search marketing space. On the side, he's also a small business owner himself, so we're glad to have you with us, Anthony. Welcome.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Just want to go over the agenda for today. We will touch upon the e-commerce landscape as it exists today, focusing more heavily on Amazon and the impact they've had in the space. We'll then go over the survey results from our primary research and the methodology behind that. We'll then get into those research findings themselves, the stats that we found, and the insights behind that, including, what challenges do SMBs face today and their investment plan for the future, the pros and cons to Amazon, Amazon advertising in particular, and omni-channel marketing as a topic as well. And at the end, we'll just get into the Q&A. Before we get into the meat and potatoes and go into the stats we found from our research, just a quick poll for you guys. How many of you find Amazon to be a friend or a foe to your business? Okay, I'll give it just another 10 seconds or so. Okay, so it looks like 58% of you said a friend to your business, 42% said foe. Really interesting, really goes back to what I said earlier about it being such a polarizing topic. So hopefully today we'll be able to shed some insight into the pros and cons of each and find out whether Amazon itself is the right channel for your business and if you as a business are doing it right if you are on it. Okay, and now I'll just hand it off to Anthony to go through the e-commerce landscape as it exists today. Anthony.
Thank you, Alyssa. Pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. Very happy you could join us. I'll be taking you guys through the next few slides here, starting off with our e-commerce landscape as it stands right now. As far as what do you research, what do customers research for the most recent purchase? They 31% on Amazon and 21% on search engines. So it certainly shows to Amazon's power to capture eyeballs is during the research process and during that customer journey. The next slide will show you a little bit more on the e-commerce landscape. Amazon's got 43% of U.S. e-commerce market share. Prime Day 2017 sales grew 60% year over year, an estimated $1 billion. So again, guys, the important thing here to remember is Amazon's not going anywhere anytime soon. Their strength is only increasing. If you look at Amazon's sort of business model over time, what they did in their early stages of branding themselves as a bookstore, branching into electronics, developing their own version of electronics with the Kindle, and then really stepping up convenience as they started to understand what customers want in an online marketplace and essentially shopping online in general. It's convenience. Enter Prime shopping, 2-day shipping. Custom products became big with Etsy, where businesses can create their own products, handmade products. So Amazon released handmade. So then they go into Amazon Basics, which is Amazon's own products, apparel, and then this whole concept of getting the most affordable price in Amazon. It was really a brand-driven perception for a lot of consumers to think I'm getting the best price when I shop on Amazon. And then now you have with the Whole Foods purchase, Alexa in the voice search. So Amazon's really hitting all of the major points that are driving consumers to shop online, is why Amazon's so successful. But there are still things that online retailers not in Amazon can take advantage of. So which brings us to our next slide to look at here. Some interesting things. So this is sort of an op-ed piece, if you will. Doing our research for this webinar, we had a lot of articles and search-related articles that we wanted to find out why customers buy online. So these are the 6 top reasons as to why customers buy online. And most of these are no secret. I think we could have probably guessed probably 90% of this list. What I want to do is sort of get the discussion going amongst yourselves and amongst your colleagues as far as who do you think has the advantage here? And I'm sure we could come up with a lot of different arguments as to why the business would have the price advantage or Amazon would have the price advantage. As I mentioned earlier, Amazon has that perception going for them where as a consumer, I perceive Amazon having the best price. It's not always the case. In the example on the right-hand side, with the bottom being the business website and the top being the with the bottom being the business website and the top being the Amazon site, Amazon is actually a little bit more, a few dollars more, about $6 or so more than the business. So it's not always the case where Amazon wins in price. Convenience. Brick and mortar should absolutely embrace being a brick and mortar. You hear a lot of threats on what online shopping is doing to brick and mortar, but that's one thing that Amazon doesn't have, not being a brick and mortar store. So that's an advantage for a business to exemplify their brick and mortar store. But however, when you come to 2-day shipping, you could also make the argument going to Amazon that being able to get the product within 2 days. Just being in New York the other day, I saw a gentleman riding on a bike with a basket full of Amazon packages that said 1 hour shipping. So in large major cities, it is possible to get your products within 1 hour. So convenience, Amazon, that's one of the things they strive for and do very, very well. Inventory seemingly never ending for Amazon. It's ultimately an unlimited supply for Amazon. So You could make the argument for Amazon there. Quality of the product's very interesting. It could go either way. Business, as they can offer more on their product page. This is going to be sort of getting into that customer experience towards the bottom of this list, where when you talk about the quality of the product, touching it, feeling it, it's very, very important to some customers. But when you're dealing primarily online, it's very difficult to do that. So whereas businesses might benefit by showing possibly a video of how the product functions, if it's sort of a how-to video, if that product kind of serves to that type of video, or featuring multiple angles of the product, allowing customers to zoom in on the product, different aspects of it. So giving the customer as much of the quality online as possible is extremely important for the business. Amazon does do some of these things, but I think that's going to be a challenge as we go forward, is to really fully understand the quality of the product. The other thing is with Amazon, one of the negatives is you have third parties. As the inventory grows, which we pointed out above, as Amazon really has that inventory advantage, there's a lot of third-party sellers on Amazon that don't necessarily there's a lot of quality control missteps. So I think we've all been there where we've bought something off of Amazon, whether it be an iPhone charger from personal experience where it works for a month and then it stops working. So those are some of the things that consumers are going to get a bad experience and may look towards the actual brand of the business instead of going on Amazon as a third party. Reputation is another. You could look towards it, Amazon for that advantage. A lot of this, where Amazon has the advantage here, it doesn't necessarily mean businesses can't seize an opportunity there. Every customer that you get is an opportunity to leave a phenomenal review, assuming they have a great experience on your site and with your product. Getting those reviews in, because they're indexable within Google, it's very, very important to ask your customers for reviews. If you are doing paid search, there are review extensions. You can add them to your paid search ads. You can see how effective this is in Amazon. They do a very good job of showcasing the product reviews and also giving consumers that have bought the product before to actually leave their feedback and answer potential questions that potential customers have. That's a great feature, but that feature can be enabled on your own site, and it's something to look into. Last but not least is the customer experience, and this is really the lifeblood of your business, especially if you're not in Amazon right now, and you're looking more towards steering away from Amazon, sort of viewing them more as a foe. Speaking to, I think it was like the 42% that viewed Amazon as a foe. This is where you really want to look at investing your dollars in. The customer experience is huge. With Amazon taking more of those first looks, Forbes had an article where over 50% of shopping-based searches happen on Amazon. Well, if more eyeballs on their first look are going to Amazon, that just goes furthermore on the importance of keeping your customers, that when you get them in, keeping them happy and enhancing that lifetime value, giving them that quality experience. If anybody's ever seen the movie The Matrix, well, there's a scene in The Matrix where Morpheus talks to Neo, and he tells him that the Matrix, that's a world based on rules. Think of that like Amazon. The example on the right-hand side here, Amazon is restricted. They don't have the power yet to allow for the full customization as would be your actual online store. In the example on the right-hand side, Amazon is only showing, these are frames, picture frames. Amazon is only allowing you to change the color of the frame. That's it. You can't change the size of the frame. You have to actually go in and find another product with the different size. Fast forward and go to the company's website. I can not only change the color of the frame, but I can change the size of the frame, and I can actually change the texture of the frame. Instead of it being satin, I can make it wood or metal. I can add borders to my image. use an example. For my honeymoon pictures, I wanted a collage. Well, I could actually go into the site and make it from a single picture to a collage with one click. I couldn't do that in Amazon. So that's a customer experience story that you have to really embrace if you want to retain these customers when they first visit your site.
Okay, great. Yeah, now we'll get into the research that we conducted. We did conduct a survey from Google Consumer Surveys. It was online. We asked 10 questions, the audience being small to mid-sized business owners and managers in the US through Google's Consumer Publisher Network. And these were companies or individuals that sold products through Amazon as either a vendor, a seller, or both. So the sample size of 503, those are all managers or owners of small to medium-sized businesses that do currently sell through Amazon. The collection period of the survey was about mid-May. So now we'll get into some of the findings from that research. One of the first questions that we asked was, what was their biggest challenge right now? And 60%, the majority of these small to medium-sized business owners and managers said acquiring new customers is currently their biggest challenge, which, as a small to mid-sized business, it's really no surprise. What's interesting is when we asked where do they plan to invest the most within the next 5 years, the majority, 27%, said they plan to invest the most in paid search within the next 5 years. So really this next part it's about understanding your investment. And it does make sense that the majority of people who did say their goal is to acquire new customers also said they plan to invest in paid search, because paid search is the #1 channel for new customer acquisition.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting too is that a paid search is a phenomenal way to get new customer acquisition. But what's important is, like any investment, paid search is an investment, and it requires long-term planning, especially now that Amazon is becoming such a dominant force in the paid search industry. Amazon wants eyeballs at the end of the day. Whether it's somebody left something in their cart, they have birthday shopping to do. Amazon doesn't care which product drives them to the site. They'll bid on it and they'll get the eyeballs in, because they know that chances are multiple purchases are going to happen once the customer's on the site. So the investment has to be planned out for paid search. Also, not just in Google and Bing, but socials come a long way. And depending on your industry, and this is why it's important to understand your industry, understand your business, socials come a long way with their targeting, and also with what you're able to do from a paid social standpoint. Pinterest, Instagram, and Snapchat is becoming even larger. So depending on your industry and what your products are, there may be different routes in the paid search that would be beneficial to go. You could also argue again that Amazon is driving these stats. What we have with the 60%. Just go back a slide just take a look at the stats again. With 60% of small business owners acquiring customers as their biggest challenge, is Amazon driving that stat because Amazon acquires so many first looks that it's making it that much harder to get new customers to come in. And what's also interesting is that in our survey, business owners are looking at Amazon next to paid search as the second area that they would look to invest to acquire new customers. You could make the argument, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, considering Amazon not really for new customer acquisition. So it might be something that you have to look at. Again, it all depends on the industry, what you think is the most viable. At the end of the day, though, with customers getting that much harder to acquire, and you could say that Amazon's driving those stats, it just goes to the importance of retaining the customers that you do have, and a substantial retargeting campaign, whether it be paid social retargeting, display retargeting within Google, Bing. Your window of opportunity to close customers is only going to get smaller as Amazon grows larger.
Okay, great. We then asked what was the biggest benefit from selling on Amazon as well as the biggest downside. And 52% of respondents said that the biggest benefit for selling on Amazon for them was the potential for increased sales volume, while the biggest downside was, of course, the lower margins. 45% said that. So it begs the question, is Amazon right for you, right? High sales volume is not a guarantee, though it does go hand in hand with the expectation for lower margin when you do sell on Amazon. That would be the business model to play into the quantity of sales versus lower margins.
Yeah, this is the classic having your cake and eating it too, right? So it's very interesting that what is the best benefit with high sales volume? What comes with that is higher margins that you're losing or giving up to Amazon. So the key is that I want volume, but I also want lower margins. Very difficult to do both. And as Alyssa said, there's no guarantee that you're going to get that higher sales volume. Every business that is investing in Amazon to market their products, they want high sales volume. And with Amazon doesn't care because they're going to, whoever sells it, they get their margins from, which full fulfillment is around 15 to 18% for Amazon margins. So it really comes down to Amazon doesn't care. They get their margins one way or the other. So that effectively helps to drive down costs, which increases or decreases the profit margins for the businesses that are selling. So you really have to decide, is this right for me? How do you walk this line? Our team at NetElixir can absolutely help. We have great consultants to help you walk this line. And I definitely recommend that. Talk to somebody, talk to an expert before, if you're sort of unsure, because as we'll see later on in these stats, inaction or incorrect action could really harm your business if this isn't done right. You have to look at how diversified are you currently. A lot of the times, how your brand's being perceived currently, how your customer base is reacting to your brand, how diversified you are. Are you in paid search? Are you doing social? Are you getting your product out there to a lot of different avenues, and instead of just one or two? Are good measuring sticks to see how well you're going to do in Amazon. I've had clients that were able to have success in Amazon, and some of the things they've done, they've offset those lower margins simply because they addressed, okay, what does Amazon do well for me? Well, they handle my fulfillment, so I don't have to worry about shipping, so they can decrease some of that cost in their business to lower their overall cost of goods sold. So it helps with their profit margin. They can also raise the price, right? For selling on Amazon. The problem with that is that you're always in a competitive war with price from other companies doing the same thing. So again, it's not for everybody. So it certainly comes down to is that plan that I talked about earlier, and understanding is this essentially right for you. The bottom line is inaction one way or another. So if you're straddling the fence and you're not sure whether I should go all in on Amazon or all in on my brand or try and walk that very tight line, inaction, staying static right now, the way that the e-commerce landscape is, inaction is taking two steps back. So inaction is taking two steps back. Incorrect action, meaning doing something that you're not 100% sure is the right thing or wasn't a calculated investment, could be equivalent to taking four steps back. So the best thing to do right now is talk to your experts, talk to agencies to help you navigate if you're a small business and unsure about where that next investment step is. I'd rather you be inactive and risk just kind of taking a small step or two back, as opposed to impulsively making a decision because all you hear on the news is Amazon, 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 and then ultimately hurting your business while benefiting Amazon. So that would be my recommendation for you off of this slide.
Yeah, and that really goes well into our next stat here. 40% of those that were running Amazon paid ads said that they were ineffective. The funny thing is that when we asked the reason for ineffectiveness, the top answer was lack of know-how. So that really bodes well with what Anthony was saying about needing to be familiar and, diving fully into an investment plan with a long-term plan to see a result.
Absolutely, and again, these are the type of stats when we see these and when we do these surveys that makes me confident in not just NetElixir as an agency, but any agency. This is why agencies are in business, because of respectfully, it's mistakes along these parts where 40% of the ads are ineffective. But what was cited the most was lack of budget. So you have, or I'm sorry, lack of know-how with lack of budget, as you see there coming in at a close second. So some of these responses really shouldn't happen, and I think it's poses that impulsive move to say I just want to throw money at the latest and greatest of digital advertising, which now is Amazon. And we did have 58% say Amazon was a friend. So that's good. And I hope it's absolutely working for you. 42% said it's a foe. Now I wonder if it's the same 42%. Well, we have 40%, as Alyssa said on the previous slide, that view their ads that's ineffective because of the lack of know-how. Well, my argument to that would be we have to treat digital marketing as investments like we would any other investment. You would not invest for your retirement into the stock market if you don't know how the stock market, if you have never had any experience with it. You would get and talk to a financial planner and work out a long-term plan. So if you don't have the know-how, hold back on making any significant investments. Talk to somebody. Get an understanding of how that works. As far as the lack of budget goes, which is the second highest response there, what I would say to that is that just because you have the budget 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, things are taking longer to develop now in the digital marketing space. It's not I can throw $10,000 at it in the month and I'll make my money back immediately. It takes a while to grow because every day more and more businesses are entering the digital marketing space. Every day Amazon shares getting bigger, competitive market shares. It's driving up competition, increasing the cost. So your $10,000 last year you might need $20,000 this year. So working again with an agency like NetElixir that can work with you and your marketing team to plan out a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan to look at it and say, here's the rate, sort of the rate of inflation, as we always hear on, economic TV shows. There's also a rate of cost increase with cost per click. So, and Amazon's they're not going to be any different from that. So if you go and make an investment, if you're trying to retire and you want to be at $50,000 every year to take out for your retirement, could you invest $1,000 a month at 2% return? Sure, you can do that, but you have to understand how many months do I need to accumulate, and if it's 30 months to do that, well, you're going to run into your retirement. You need to save and invest $5,000 a month. So we can help you work with what's going to be the best investment plan for that. So as far as Amazon not working for 40% because of lack of know-how and then lack of budget, those are very correctable things to help you succeed, not just in Amazon, but that should also be applied to any digital marketing that you do. If you don't know how to do it or you are unsure about it, is my budget going to last for my full plan? If I have an annual plan, is this monthly budget going to last for that full plan?
Our next stat showed when we asked, what percentage of sales are driving from your website versus from marketplaces? And we saw that a majority of small to medium-sized business owners and managers said that they're seeing a 50-50 split. But if we go to the next slide, you could see it was almost a perfect bell curve of results that resulted from people answering this question. Majority of them seeing a 50-50 split, only around 8% or so seeing 100% of their sales driving from their website. What's interesting is that for the 8% who are not seeing any sales coming from their website, from a marketplace rather, 40% of those people still plan to invest in Amazon over the next 5 years. So if they're not seeing anything yielding from Amazon, they do plan on seeing something over the next 5 years. They plan to put their investments there.
Yeah, so this is interesting, and it sort of goes to what the theme that we've been saying. And it's nice when the surveys are all playing off of one another. We did the live survey today, where 42% said foe, 58% said friend, and this is that same paradigm you have where half of the it's a 50-50 split as to what people are what business owners are investing. So looking at Amazon, I think it's good that Amazon, people are willing to invest in Amazon. I think you should look at it. It's a big, major player, but so is Google, so is Bing, so is organic, so is YouTube video. I mean, it really comes down to your industry and how you play to your customers. If we rewind the clock, go in the Wayback Machine, and go back to when Google first started, you had brick and mortars, and it was the same thing. Google's going to take over everything. So a lot of people went and invested in Google. Some held back and said, I'm going to build my brick and mortar business. And some of them succeeded. But ultimately, you could argue that Google took over. But so Amazon's sort of in that same realm where now everybody's been advertising on Google and Bing and Yahoo. And now it's, should I go into Amazon? Should I not go into Amazon? Amazon's showing no signs of slowing down. So the argument of, I don't want to be left out, certainly I understand that, but it goes back to what we said in the previous slide. Making that right investment is crucial, and doing a full synopsis of your business before diving in is critical. You don't want to be one of those 40% of Amazon investors that it's not successful. It's not successful for them. So just that's important. And at the end of the day, you do have to make a decision one way or the other. Talked about inaction, 50-50 split, 50% in Amazon, 50% in the other online digital channels. It seems like 40% want to invest more in Amazon over the next 5 years. Excellent, as long as that makes sense for you. For those of you that are not planning on investing, you have to look at your brand on your site. You have to go back to that customer experience. To finish that, the Matrix analogy I was using, Amazon is built on rules. They have rules within Amazon. If you want to sell on Amazon, this is what you're allowed to do. If you sell frames, picture frames, you can do the color of the frame. That is what you're allowed to change on the product page. However, as in the movie in the Matrix, Neo was able to break a lot of those rules of the Matrix. You as a business can break those rules that Amazon has set. Have where you can change the frames, have where you can change the color, have where you can change the size right on that page. Give customers a video, a how-to video of how to use more complicated products. I have electronic clients that some high-level electronics. They offer different 360 views of the product, high-level zoom, so where customers can see the actual components of those electronic products. That's a meaningful insight that to give customers, and that's acquired from understanding your customer, understanding your product, of what your customers want when they get to your website. So diversification, absolutely. I encourage you to look at Amazon, absolutely. But first and foremost, regardless of what you want to do, look at your products, look at your customer base, look at your industry. Where is it going? Where do you see the most benefit coming from a digital marketing channel? And then talk to a consultant, talk to an agency like NetElixir, where we can help work out that plan, work out that investment plan for you. And because at the end of the day, that's really what this comes down to, is 40% want to invest in Amazon. How much, how often, how long? Those are the questions that need to be asked, and that an agency like NetElixir can certainly help navigate that very uncertain minefield of digital marketing for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think something that I would just want to add to drive it home is that if you're a very brand conscious business, especially someone just starting out, or you're just a mid-sized business out there, to be very conscious about where you're playing, especially first for your first point of sale. Because if you're playing in an Amazon marketplace where price is a big factor, you risk brand commoditization. You risk jeopardizing your brand awareness and really owning the whole perception of your brand, of your product. Beyond that, you're not really getting those customer analytics. You're not owning that end customer to the extent that you do when customers are converting from your own branded website. So for those of you who have maybe a purposeful strategy of seeing half of your sales or a portion of your sales deriving from website versus marketplace, it's important to stay conscious of protecting your brand when you're thinking about your long-term strategy.
Excellent point, Alyssa. And really what it comes down to is that, the investments that you guys make, whether it be Amazon, whether it be paid, it all comes with risk. And it's not necessarily always a dollar amount risk. With investing in Amazon, the risk is the brand, which ultimately you could argue translates into dollars. But it really comes down to what am I willing to risk, and understanding that risk. And if you're okay with that and giving up some of the brand to go into Amazon, you can look at what percentage of I want to invest in Amazon, what percentage I want to stay in advertising on Google and Bing, and then maybe keep your brand alive on social media and Facebook. So that those are things that we can certainly help navigate, but you have to think about when you make these decisions.
Yeah, and to that point on brand, as a business, you do have to make sure you know what unique value are you delivering to your customer. And that's definitely something that could be easier said than done. But through owning your website and really optimizing that customer experience, that's one way that you could really stand out and really highlight your value as a brand. We talk about being unique as a company. Increasingly, consumers want products and services that are tailored to them personally. And communications that are targeting them directly. So marketers really need to have access to reams of data now that allows them to really micro-target their consumers. And this is something that you will be able to get through identifying your own consumer journey analytics from your website. So before we close off today, here's just a summary of all the research stats. The biggest challenge from SMBs today was acquiring new customers. And then along with that, they did plan to invest in paid search, which made sense since it's the #1 channel for new customer acquisition. The biggest benefit for selling on Amazon for many people was that potential for increased sales volume. And of course, as a known downside, coupled with that strategy is the lower margins, though, of Amazon. A majority of businesses did find that running ads on Amazon was ineffective, but we found that it was because really they just didn't dedicate the resources. They noted lack of know-how as the top reason for ineffectiveness. And lastly, when we're examining the landscape today, we found that a majority of businesses are seeing half of their sales deriving from their own website, half deriving from marketplaces today. And if you are interested about talking about improving your Amazon marketing strategy, maybe you're on Amazon now and you're viewing it as a foe, but you still want to invest in that channel and improve it, or you're just starting out and want to see if it makes sense for your business, we certainly encourage you to contact us. Just go to NetElixir.com/contact, and one of our experts can get back to you and talk about your business in particular. At this time, we're going to open it up to any questions from the audience. So if you have any questions at all, just type them into the bottom part of your GoToWebinar panel. We'll be able to read and get back to as many of you as possible. And I'll just give it a minute for some of the questions to roll through, and I'll see if we have any.
Also, guys, while we're waiting for some of the questions to come in, we'd just like to add, like as Alyssa said, it doesn't matter whether you view Amazon as a friend or foe. Amazon's not going anywhere, and frankly, Amazon doesn't care whether you view them as a friend or a foe. They're going to keep rolling along. It really comes down to how you can best make use of it, and understanding that if it is absolutely a foe, why is it a foe, and what you can do differently? Is it possible to make them a friend? You don't have to unload your entire inventory to them. Maybe it's only a few products that makes sense. Products that are hard to fulfill, have Amazon pull that weight. And it looks like we do have a question come in. Why doesn't Amazon have account managers or something similar that we can work with directly? We can't even find phone number to call for help. Very interesting and good question. honestly, I don't know why Amazon would not have account managers to help the business. They certainly have account managers to help the customer. That's for sure. I was fortunate enough to be at Google headquarters last week, speaking there, and there was a few business owners that were selling on Amazon that I had the pleasure of talking to, and what was very interesting is that they had a lot of negative things to say about how Amazon treats the merchants. This might be a big player 2, 3, 4 years from now. If Amazon keeps making merchants unhappy, the willingness to sell on Amazon was going to go down. They may turn internally or go to another marketplace. Amazon certainly absolutely helps the consumer. That's for sure. So to answer your question, I think it would be helpful if Amazon reached out to the merchants a little bit more. I think it will hurt them over time. And you're right, you can't find a contact number to call as a business. At the end of the day, the reason why I think they don't have it is because I don't think they need one right now. I think the willingness to, as we've seen in the surveys, 60%. 40% are looking to invest in Amazon over the next 5 years. So, and knowing that there's really limited support for the business owner, businesses are still willing to invest. So Amazon's making its own marketing and margin and profit decision of not, I guess, hiring enough staff to handle concerns from the merchants. But I would suspect that would change if Amazon continues to drive the amount of traffic that they're driving. Okay, I think we have some more questions coming in. Do we have them? Okay, looks like we have one here. Just came in. Sorry, I was a little bit slow. How do you, if Amazon, how much does it cost typically to get your products onto Amazon? How much does it cost to get your products onto Amazon? Well, to my knowledge, there's no fee unless Amazon's changed that like extremely recently. It requires a lot of know-how to set up a good solid product feed to Amazon standards. One of the reasons why Amazon does so well is because they have a very rigorous feed process where they want product identifiers, global trade numbers, MPNs, brands. Everything's got to be laid out, the size, shape, scope, color, age group that the product is for. This is one of the services that NetElixir does in fact do. We've had a lot of success with business owners to get their feed in line and ready to be marketed in Amazon. But there's no, as far as getting on to Amazon, there's no cost other than the margins that are negotiated with you and Amazon as far as whether you want full fulfillment, partial fulfillment. Now, on getting your products on Amazon through paid search, well, then it's on a click basis, and those clicks can vary from 20 cents all the way up to $2 and greater, depending on the value of your product and how competitive it is. The cost per click is very, very much like Google. It's a bidding system that comes down to competition, value of the product. So good question.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that is all of the questions that we have for today. If you guys think of anything else, feel free to email us. I'm just Alyssa at NetElixir, and Anthony here is anthony.turco@netelixir.com as well. Before we conclude the webinar, we do encourage you to go to our Consumer Insights section of our webpage. We do primary research every quarter. So if you go to netelixir.com/consumer insights, you could actually subscribe to get some of these really easy to digest stats delivered to your inbox every week. With that, we thank you for joining. This presentation will be available online and sent to all attendees. So thank you all and have a great day.
Thank you.